Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Shape Your Story. My name is Nathan.
And I'm Lisa.
Awesome, Lisa. So what are we going to learn today?
Okay, everybody wants to know about when and how to use color in their drawings. And so we've kept it for later because it is, to me, like, kind of an extra added step. So I have a few feelings about when and how to use color. So we're going to talk about that now.
Awesome.
So just in general, before I go down to do a demonstration, just a few points. One of them is I try to keep my palette super limited and to use as few colors as possible. Just for the same reason that I like to use as few details as possible, as few colors as possible is really great. And color needs to mean something. It can't just be there for decoration. It can be for emphasis, but if you use too many colors, it ends up being what I call a clown vomit. It becomes very confusing and chaotic looking. And I know some folks are worried about using drawing at work looking or feeling unprofessional. And the quickest way to have that feeling is to use too many colors.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the question becomes, how do you choose your colors? So I'm going to give you some ideas right now. I'm going to go down to the iPad and
Awesome.
show you what I mean. So one of the ways I choose my colors, especially when I'm working with clients, is to use their logo. So when they have a logo, it already has a set number of colors in it. And so using the logo will allow me to keep the palette limited and make it branded to the customer, to the client I'm working with, or to the company I'm working with. So just for fun, I'm bringing up the logo of a favorite sports team of mine. Since I'm from New York, I love the New York Mets. So is that showing up? Yeah, it is showing up for you. So if you're using an iPad or something like it, you should be able to choose the colors right off of the. See how it ends up? The color that I've got is right off of the logo. So I can start to use the color right there from the logo. Same thing with the blue. I can choose the blue, and then I can have, a baseball player. And we know he's a baseball player because
you just completely sold me on Procreate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure that other sketching apps do the same thing, but this is the one I'm used to. So if I go back to the orange from here, I can just now I have a Mets player, right? And so now if I was going to make this entire screen something to do with them, I might decide that the orange lettering is for the big titles of what I'm doing, and that the blue lettering was for maybe bullet points that might come under it. And maybe some pictures, like if I wanted to talk about time, we talked about this, or if I wanted to talk about money, how much are we paying our players this year and things like that. Yeah. I might decide to just do all that. Sorry about that. Might decide to do all that in blue. But as you can see, you would be able to, and then you can have, I can use a different brush and maybe do something in a kind of this is sort of a half tone.
Yeah.
And I can use my eraser to write something on that halftone, but all of it becomes in the same general palette. So now you can see, even though this doesn't make any sense, this picture, at least the colors are unified, right? Yeah. And so you can keep everything that you're doing will still have something to do with this. So that's one way to keep your colors limited. It's also important to just have an idea of the hierarchy. So I would say white is a color 2, so you've got the background. Black might be a color 2. So if you have these two other colors, maybe, and I'm saying maybe, you might have maybe bright yellow to like accentuate something, but you would use that very sparingly. You might have like one extra like accent color. But I would keep most things to 2 colors, 2 values, especially if you're using digital. Again, you have the opportunity to do halftones of things that are still. This is the same blue. It's just like 20% blue. If I move this slider up and down, it gives me the opportunity to change the value of. This is a little bit darker. This is full darkness. This is the line weight. So I have a huge range of stuff I can still do with still keeping the colors limited.
Right.
And the other reason to keep them limited is, even though I'm really fast at this, every time I change colors, see how it takes time. Now you see all my tools. There are ways of keeping it. There are ways of keeping it so you wouldn't see the tools when I change it, and I haven't set that up yet. But even if I didn't, even if this wasn't an interruption, the seeing the tools, it's still, you're changing, and every time you change, it takes time. So I'm gonna to show you what I mean. I'm gonna move my iPad out of the way, and I'm just gonna show you the same thing on paper. I just happen to have orange and blue on my desk. I guess those are my two favorite colors. But if I wanted to do, if I wanted to make, a title using my orange, now I'm capping this, I'm putting it down, and now I've got, this person who's a blue person, maybe with their hat on, they're happy because they play for the Mets, the best team. But see, if I want to cap them again, and I want to make this thing, every time you'd have to change markers, and I'm sure you've noticed this if you do whiteboarding, every time you have to change markers, you have to put one down, you have to put the cap on so it doesn't dry out, and it just takes time. Imagine if I had 5 different colors I was using all the time. It would just be a complete, clown show. And so also it wouldn't mean anything, because when you start to use colors, people begin to ask themselves, well, what does the orange mean? Right. What does the blue mean? So I would want to make sure that every main title was orange, just to kind of keep the hierarchy, and every bullet point under there starts to be blue. So then if I, now I know that the details are in blue and the main ideas are in orange. And it just helps people understand. So really the only reason we're doing drawing and whiteboarding is to help with understanding and communication. And anything that takes away from that or distracts from that is going to be a negative.
So we're just saying it should be a highlight or an accent on a topic or a statement, not the main menu, right?
Well, sometimes you might want to use color to make a statement about like this is different from that. Like you might decide like you're going to use color to make a contrast between two ideas.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to make this Venn diagram, and here's how these two things fit together. The fact that they're different colors has meaning there, because it's like, well, this thing is blending with this thing, and that's why we have 2 different colors. So there's a reason, there's a rationale behind it. And sometimes I don't happen to have one here except for black, but sometimes you might want to have a third color just to really like, okay, this thing is, this is the most important title on this page, but you would only use that in a very sparing way. If I did this to every single title on this page, it would make them all equal again, and that would defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
So, don't feel bad if you're only using one accent color. Like imagine if I just go to a different page and I'm using black now, and I decided that I'm going to show you something else that maybe we haven't talked about yet. I like to use banners sometimes. Show you how to do that. Containers, that's a little fancy, but if I was going to put a title up here, I might decide that, I was going to, I don't know, do something to make that special, and I'm going to add like orange under here. This is a little bit more decorative than what we usually do, but I can decide that those are the 2 colors I'm just going to be using. Remember, white is still a color. So we have black, we have white, we have orange, and I don't have anything else. So I could decide to just have, I have my star people here, and he's giving a presentation about something, and then on the presentation board is okay, we're having problems with our revenue is going down, for example.
Sure.
So right away we only have those 2 colors that we're using on a white sheet of paper, but the colors mean something. There's a reason for that orange to be there, right? If I added another color, it would really only be to accentuate, or like maybe we decide we're just gonna make the characters all blue, but I don't think that helps. Right. It doesn't help us read what's going on here, right? If I was going to do one of our metaphors and like make it a mountain, I might decide to make the little flag on top orange or red, and that kind of just emphasizes that, makes the picture more since we're using color. If we weren't using color, I wouldn't put it there. But if we're using color, then I would put it there, and then I would have our people climbing up the mountain to get to the flag. Hooray.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch. It's not too hard to do, but it's a nice little touch, and it makes sense.
Yeah, that's little touch is really where I really think you ought to go with it.
Yeah,
it's not something that should be a big part of what you're doing in your whiteboarding. Again, as long as it means something, comparisons, hierarchies, emphasis, that's where you would use it. And then again, the choice of colors might have something to do with the company that you're working for or working with. If you're having trouble deciding, well, what color should I use? And that's always a good reason to choose something. If they've got a logo that's red and black, then you might as well use red as your accent color. That makes it more likely that they're going to show it on their website or put it in their company newsletter or something like that.
So that's great. Now, you shouldn't be surprised that when I got my last whiteboard, I think I have like 24 different colors and markers. And, I just felt like more colors are better. But the reality is once you get past the vanity of having 24 colors, I only use 2. I use blue and black typically, maybe sometimes green, right? But you can do a lot with just one color, as you know, really well, right? But it's got a nice looking at how you can use it for accents. I think that's probably what you have to calibrate your brain to do that, and also for branding.
The other thing is when you're using it for accents, it also helps to think about, well, when am I going to actually apply those colors to the board? Yeah. While you're having this conversation, we're not really having a real meeting, but if we were, we might decide I'm going to write all this stuff down. And now I'm going to add my accent colors because I'm talking about, I'm going through what I've drawn now, and I'm going to show, okay, number 1, we're going to do this. Number 2, we're going to do that. And that's when I add the orange or the blue or the red to the numbers or to the places. And it helps people who are in the meeting remember, oh, there's 3 steps to this process, or there are 3 things I need to remember. So the act of adding the color becomes important too, not just what it looks like on the piece of paper.
Right. Okay, so let me try.
Okay.
I think I'm going to try the banner. I think that seems to be a little bit easier.
Oh, okay. I did something. Yeah, I did something a little bit fancy there, and I kind of sneaked it in. But this is kind of a sneak preview of another lesson that we're probably going to do about titles and containers. So the easiest way to do a banner is not the curvy one that I just did, because that's actually really hard.
I was actually going to follow it.
Well, the easiest way to do it is probably to do a straight one. So if you did a straight one, you would just do 2 parallel lines.
Okay.
And connect them at the end like a rectangle, and that would already be enough to be able to put something inside.
Okay.
All right. That's just standing in for writing. But if you want to make it look like a banner, what you would do would be to do like a diagonal line here, and a diagonal line there, and then a vertical line here, and a vertical line there. Now you've already got dimension like a banner.
Got it.
But if you want it to be more fancy, you do another horizontal line here, and another horizontal line there, and then like a V, and then like another V, and then another horizontal line here, and another horizontal line there. And now you have this very pretty looking container. Well, you did the curvy one really well, Nathan. But the curvy one works exactly the same way. Yeah, the curvy one works exactly the same way. You got kind of a curvy shape, and you duplicate it down here. It's important that these lines are vertical.
Got it.
And then you would make these things that I did diagonally, you'd make them kind of curvy too. Now, because this one goes down, instead of doing them both on the top side, I'm doing this one on the up on the left,
Got it.
and down on the right. So I've got the same situation. And then, again, instead of making this completely horizontal, I might make it wavy, because we're doing everything wavy. I've got my V again over here. I've got this wavy, and I've got my V again over there. So now we have very similar to up here.
Simple.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really complicated, and it feels complicated the first time you do it. But if you do it step by step, curvy, there are 2 parallel lines, and then verticals on the sides, then you can do whatever you want with the little flags.
So now what you do, you did something with a shading at the bottom, didn't you, with color?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I added. I'm going to use blue this time, just for fun and emphasis. I just. This is hard, but I just followed around. Okay. This is a lot easier if you're doing it on the iPad, because I just followed it around the bottom edge.
Okay.
And so that's that just makes it stand out more, makes it more dimensional. And this is good for announcements. It's good for here's our agenda for today. I could write the word agenda in here.
Oh, cool.
It's good for if you're announcing a person or a speaker. I use this a lot when I'm sketchnoting and if someone is speaking, I put their name in one of these or in one of these as a way of saying, this is important. This is a label. But there's all other kinds of containers. We've already talked about some other containers that we have. Like we have containers that look like a presentation, and you could decide you could put the word agenda in here.
Oh, right.
We have containers that look like thought balloons, and you could actually write something in there, or voice balloons. But there are all kinds of different ways to do containers. These are, to me, kind of the sprinkles on top of the ice cream. They're not the ice cream themselves.
So the last time I saw, by the way, I was looking for colored pencils, which my kids have taken all of them, and my Crayolas and my markers, by the way. So I did find this one. Now, I will tell you, there's a little secret with this pen. The last time this pen was used was by, the last person who used it was Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters.
Oh, okay.
I met him a couple of years ago at an event, and he signed a guitar too. So I basically said, you must sign this blue guitar with this gold pen, because both his famous guitars are either gold or blue. And no one else has used it. So I don't know if this is even going to work, because it's been a couple of years.
You can try,
I'm curious. Oh, it does work.
It does work. Gold. Yeah, it probably goes right through the paper too.
It probably does. It's fine. It's just a notepad. But yeah, it's
it looks really nice. I mean, these are both decorative and functional. But again, I hesitate to set you off, Nathan, because I know how much you like to fiddle with your drawings, and we want to make sure that they're super simple.
What does that say about me?
Yeah. Well, you're detail oriented, but again, the less detail. For me, the less detail, the better.
Much
to me, what this means is just pay attention to this thing.
Right.
Again, sparingly is better than not sparingly. I wouldn't put every single title in a banner, for example. I might do one at the top. Right.
Especially since my banner is just squiggles. But
we're using squiggles to stand in for other kinds of for different kinds of text. Right. But you can imagine using this for, titles, for people, for, day 1, day 2, day 3. You might have, if you've got different, it kind of heralds something new in a way when you're using banners.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Again, everything means something, and that's what's great about drawing for work. Right.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's another great episode. I'm sure we can probably learn more, but we're running out of time. So again, like we say in every single episode, practice, practice, practice. Again, colors, use them sparingly, use them to make points, to accentuate things, highlight things, use them for branding purposes. I got to now download Procreate and get a license for that, because that's super cool. We keep talking about it, yet I still haven't done it yet, but I will. I will get it. All right. With that, folks, thanks for joining us on another episode of Shape Your Story. Lisa, thanks again for teaching us a thing or two. And we will see everyone next time on the next episode. See you all later.
Bye.